Central Illinois, the Bunnies, no match for Normal U High. The U High Pioneers soccer team is Elite Eight again. Normal U High dominating the Fisher Bunnies in the Monticello Sectional Championship. Owen Passetti right here on the corner kick to the freshman Miles Parola. Made a lot of big plays in his freshman campaign. Scores the first goal today. Later, it's going to be a couple seniors. Warren Rayford centers it to Noah Molitor at the top of the box. Molitor's one-on-one with the keeper, and he'll score. Normal U High wins at 4-0. They'll play Mantino. Same team the football team's playing in the playoffs in Saturday's Super Sectional. Also in Class 1A, Peoria Christian plays at Mendota tomorrow for the IVC sectional title. The Chargers lost a tough 4-2 decision at Mendota just a couple weeks ago in the regular season finale. Tomorrow's not about revenge, but about trying to win a sectional title versus a strong Mendota squad.
Key to Mendota is just mindset going into it. Like we have to be focused, determined from the start, and just execute our plan a little bit better than we did the last time. It's definitely going to be a battle.
Good luck to the Chargers. Class 3A soccer, windy day in Galesburg for Normal Community versus Moline. Check out this beauty. Logan Lelm from about 30 yards out. Beautiful shot for the goal by Logan Lelm. Game is tied 1-1. We go to penalty kicks, and Drew Parker says, let's go home. He ends Moline's season with a game-winning PK. Bodie Thompson must have been great as the Normal Community keeper. 5-4 in penalty kicks. Normal Community advances. The Class 2A soccer Dunlap sectional kicks off tomorrow. Peoria Notre Dame versus Galesburg. Dunlap versus Washington. Doubleheader kicks off at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Regional volleyball now in Dunlap. Morton, a state Final Four team a year ago, begins the state tournament playing Galesburg. Beck Stock with the dig. Hannah Newkirk to Isabel Mueller for the nice little roll shot down for a Potter point. Then it's going to be Claire Sarisa with the set to Carly Whitaker. Whitaker the big hit. This one's coming back, but Abby Van Minnen was terrific at the net. She'll block it down for a Potter point right here. Then it's going to be Newkirk setting up a Beck Stock for a point. This one's coming right at me. I think I caught it. Morton's a winner tonight over Galesburg. The host Dunlap playing Richwoods in the second match, and Sadie Sawicki, the libero for Dunlap, to Caroline Holmes. Holmes to Samantha Matheny for the Dunlap point right here. Richwoods playing better in the second set. Lendon Somerville sets a block down for a Knights point, but too much. Dunlap, Sawicki to Veronica Lopez. Lopez to Chloe Roberts. Roberts to the floor. Dunlap will play Morton Thursday for a regional title. They split their two regular season matches. At Metamora, Metamora taking on their big rival Washington. Metamora in control, but Washington trying to rally. Brooklyn Schulte at the net right here with the block down for a Panther point. But Metamora would not go away. Ella Miller to Ava Pintoni for the nice tip and a point. Then Sally Dunlap outside to Tabby Vanderstraff for the nice swing for the Redbirds in front of a big crowd. On match point, senior Addie Pesha says, let's go to the regional final. Metamora is a winner, 25-17, 25-18. The service winner here. Redbirds will play Limestone, who knocked out East Peoria. That'll be a fun match on Thursday. Class 4A, Normal Community, a winner over Pekin at their own regional. Maya Blumenshine to Samantha LeCamp to Sydney Jansen for the Lady Iron and a point. Zoe Lidke, the tough angle point right here for Pekin, but Normal Community in control. Evie Mounts to Elena Whitfield, and Whitfield the big smash. Later it's going to be Whitfield on set point again. Normal Community is going to win it. They'll face Minooka in the regional final. At Rock Island, Normal West, a semifinal winner. They'll play Moline on Thursday. Class 2A, Bloomington Central Catholics, one of the teams to watch in the state. They're hosting their own regional, and they're winners tonight over Prairie Central. That's Aubrey Campbell, a big-time dig to Josie Serta to Campbell Neepagan for the kill. Then Lauren O'Brien to Rosie Krenz off the noggin of the Prairie Central Hawk. Later, Neepagan to Serta. Serta's going to set up Aubrey Fair, and she's going right down the line for a winner. Central Catholic wins and will play Monticello. In Farmington, the hosts, Farmington taking on a dangerous Tremont team, and Tremont in control. Lily Klaus to Savannah Jost for the flying tip and point. Farmington gets a nice highlight here. Megan Carpenter, Elena Kiefer for a big Farmers swing, but Tremont's in control. Klaus this time to Callie Whitcomb, who soars and scores. Then it's going to be Audrey Parn on the dig. Klaus to Nora Parsons. Parsons the big swing. Tremont will play Macomb. Macomb beat Peoria in their name. At Minunk, Eureka taking on IVC. We'll start our highlights with Eureka. Kaylee Keim will set up Karis Wolf for the kill. IVC coming back. Nice play by the libero Lily Boland to Marina Ferenkrug outside to Anna Foster, and Foster the point for IVC, but Eureka's going to get the win. Josie Wiegand the big swing right here. It'll be fun on Thursday in Minunk. Eureka will take on El Paso Gridley for a